Now, earlier you mentioned the use of the word Muslim. Would you say then that you think the media use this
disproportionately?
Disproportionately.
Absolutely. You kind of get the sense that it's not just violence. So it's like if something happens and there's a Muslim involved, it's like Muslim man kills lady, or Muslim man robs old lady for 50 pence.
Yes.
Or, you know, Muslim terrorism or Islamic terrorism or Islamist terrorism or Islamic fundamentalism or radical Islamism or radical Islam, you know, it kind of never ends. And it's like 15 Muslims today were rioting. Yeah, but they were rioting about socio-economic deprivation in their area, or, you know, the lack of human rights that people who are, you know, arrested without charge have. They're not discriminating on, you know, religion. However, the media kind of operates on this. And actually what you do is you only look at these people through one lens, and then what that does, it kind of draws them inward. So rather than they trying to integrate or become desensitized in terms of their identity, kind of reinforces their identity because you're only looking at them through that lens. And I would say that that has happened to me as well, where because I have only ever been, well, through my experience, and one experience that's changed my life quite drastically, is because I was viewed through that lens. I would say that it drew me inward and kind of made me stop and reflect on who I was, and I've kind of understood myself to be a British Muslim. And Muslim for me is a very important thing. Even though I'm not practicing, it's still an identity, and I think everyone needs that.
Yes.
For something that they can call their own, or they are a part of. So in that sense, you know, rather than being British and complicating matters, you kind of just accept Muslim as being, you know, this unitary kind of group of people that doesn't ever differentiate on race or nationality or ethnicity. So in that sense, it's good. But yeah, I think the mainstream media need to stop using this word if they want people to actually stop perceiving themselves to be Muslim before anything. It doesn't kind of help, it reinforces the Muslim identity, and I think that's problematic. It's a popular thing. It's easy to bandwagon, and I think that's what a lot of mainstream press do nowadays. It's because it kind of draws the attention. You need a bogeyman in society in order to kind of justify one, your policies, and two is to kind of make people like there's always an outsider that you're under threat from. And I think that Muslim terrorists or Muslim rioters or Islamic rioters or something like that kind of ties into that narrative.
Can you see why the circumstances surrounding your arrest would look suspicious if you're an outsider?
Yes, absolutely. I can understand why somebody may want to investigate. It's because we are very, very paranoid and very, very scared. Again, let's contextualise it. 7/7, a terrorist attack, tragic, 52 people dead. 21/7 failed to go off. Nicky Riley in Exeter failed to go off. That's 3 active things that have failed to go off. Foiled or failed, foiled I would say by the security services and police. 7. So what we've got less than 15 things since 9/11 that have happened in the United Kingdom. However, if you're an outsider that doesn't know that, you would think that every single day a terrorist attack was getting foiled. And that's the kind of understanding that's been promoted through the media, through this kind of constant scheme room almost. There's more violence that is perpetrated in the name of Irish independence or republicanism than Islamist you know, a desire to take over and implement Sharia law in Britain. In regards to my arrest, do I think the police were justified? No, I don't, because I think the nature of police work is such that they should do some police work, and that is that if they suspected that I was an individual who was involved in terrorist activity, put me under surveillance, and that would have allowed them to realise that actually this guy is just a weirdo and he's not he's not what we understand to be a terrorist.
Do you think that there's Islamophobia in England today?
Absolutely. There's certain individuals that say absolutely absurd things, and the irony of it is that the press love them and will have double-sheeted spreads on them and get them on morning television and Newsnight, right? And the reason for that is because they're so absurd what they're saying. It's like, well, there are people that exist out there like this. Yes, about 300 of them, you know, and when the press always focus on these individuals, where most people don't go to different corners of the internet to get their news source, they watch the BBC or they watch ITV or Channel 4, whatever, Sky News, right? So when Sky News always runs a piece on two nut jobs who are always saying the same thing, and absurd things, the majority of the public who watch that think that's what Muslims are.
Yeah.
And therefore, when they see a Muslim man who actually looks like this man, with a beard and a hat on, right, they'll think, oh, he's the same bloody person, right? It's the same thing, that if you have if you reinforce that image, then you, in society, will make people understand or believe who don't possibly have the time to go out and do the research or understand the nuances or the differences within Muslims as a community. They'll see it all as a monolith, and they'll say that they're all bloody terrorists. And that's what you'd have, and that's what reinforces Islamophobia, I believe. And the media need to stop doing that, because these people that's exactly what they're after. Is the reason they do it, because it makes great news. It makes brilliant news. Where you've got some crazy man with a whole... So why is Abu Hamza so famous? It's like, look how far technology and prosthetic arms and legs, and you could get a prosthetic face, for Christ's sake.